As a small biz pro, so we roll, using procurement, program, and control. As a small biz pro, so we grow, using procurement, program, and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Business Zone. Well, it's Friday, May 4th, and we're going to have a fantastic show. Today is Bella Girl, Bella Women, Bella Network in the house. My special co-host is Miss Dawn Strozier. She is here helping me out with the show. Gilbert is in Las Vegas, and he actually will be there until June. So Dawn is going to be helping me out here. And then today, I decided that we were going to speak to all of our Bell sisters.
All right.
Yeah. So how are you, Dawn? Thank you for coming out to help me.
I am doing super fabulous, and I can't get over how amazing I look on the screen.
I know, huh?
Yes.
This is a special superpower screen.
Is it?
It just makes you just look so gorgeous.
I love this.
I know, huh?
This is great.
Yeah. And so how was your week?
My week was actually awesome. I'm finishing a project that I'm working on, and God is just so good.
Yes,
the details start off rough, but you know how God is. He stepped in and took over, and everything's been great.
Okay, well, cool.
Everything I finished yesterday, so you'll see it soon.
I will?
Yes,
so this is this big project you've been working on
yes,
for a little minute or so?
It's a very big project.
Okay.
And you know what's so exciting is that I feel like I've accomplished something that was really impossible. That's
really?
How I feel now. Yes.
Wow.
That's how big the project was. I feel like it was really impossible, and I did it.
So is this something that's been on your goals sheet or your bucket list? Or
Yes, it's been on my goal sheet.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been planning it. Last year, I attempted to do it, and it just wasn't the right timing. And this year, I had the opportunity to do it, and it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing.
Well, I can't wait. So when is those of us in the mere public going to know all about it?
Real soon.
Real soon?
Well, yes, real soon. Maybe by the end of the month.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm so
good.
proud of you.
I'm proud of myself. You can't tell me nothing now. There's nothing I can't do. With God, anything is possible.
This is huge.
Yes, it's huge. For me, it's huge.
Okay, well, I'm looking forward to it, and,
yes.
and I'm grateful that and honored that you're going to co-host with me. And
absolutely.
We talked about some fun stuff that we're going to do.
Yes,
and
I'm excited about that as well.
And I actually have some other things. One of the things that the Business Zone wants to do this year is really expand out and continue our voice in the community. Mm-hmm. So we're going to partner up with it's a new paper that's in the community print media called Los Angeles Standard Newspaper.
Okay.
And we're going to partner up with Jason Lewis is the proprietor, and he's also a writer. And we're going to have like a roaming in the community reporting. And so he's going to video and meet, because he's out talking to new businesses and so forth. And so we're going to maximize our efforts to get the information in our community. And he'll go out and meet, and then we'll upload video to his interview to the show, and then at the same time be promoting his newspaper and the Business Zone. So
that sounds exciting.
Isn't that going to be exciting?
Yes, because I'm going to actually put one of my workouts in that newspaper.
Okay, yeah, and he's got. In fact, his very first issue, he interviewed me here in the studio,
really?
And then I think
so you made the first issue.
I made the first.
Well, congratulations!
Issue. I know, and he's a really cool guy.
I'm going to be in the second.
You're going to be in the second. Okay. But he really, really does an in-depth interview.
Okay.
And you really get a great feel for the business, and so I think it's going to be an amazing relationship. And then we've been bantering around some stuff like our own little hoodie awards or Business Zone awards, and selecting
awesome.
businesses in the community that are doing great
great
stuff.
idea.
Kind of create an American Idol kind of thing, but in the business world. Won't that be cool?
And you already have your host for that.
I know.
Me.
Yeah, right. Exactly. exactly. So we already got our host, MC, and that would be pretty cool, huh? Honoring
awesome.
ours. Because there's so many, and I know you run across them all the time, so many great businesses in this community that people don't know that are out there doing stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, and all facets of, and not just, ours is mostly business people, financial people. But I know when you have done your show at, you had a lot of different people. You had different industries and so you bring a different flavor. So that's what we want to do.
That's exciting.
Yes, I'm excited about that. This week was my birthday.
Yes, it was your birthday.
Yeah.
Did you get my text?
No, but I heard why.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank
you look amazing.
Thank you.
Thank God for another year.
I know. And then so this month of May, in my family, I start the month. Then my niece is the second day in the month. Hers is so happy birthday, Tyranny. And her birthday is the second. Then I have a cousin whose birthday tomorrow, the 5th. Then I have a cousin that's the 6th. And we go all the way through to the 19th of May. There's a birthday every other day in my family. Every other day.
Wow.
Right. So, and then in June is the other half of the family.
Wow.
And then they go from the 1st, and my mother's birthday was actually the 2nd. So it goes from the 2nd all the way down, I think, to the 28th.
That's pretty amazing.
I know. The whole family, everybody's in that side. And then there's a sprinkling. My uncle's in August, but he's by himself. And there's a couple of them in September. But isn't that kind of interesting?
That's very interesting.
There's a lot of getting busy doing into the previous year.
That's interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, so that's so a lot. When I remember my niece was born, my mother, there was 2 times actually this happened, but when my niece was born, my sister went into labor like 2 days before my birthday. My mother forgot about the birthday, and then she comes after my niece and says, she goes, oh, wait, I think you had a birthday. Yeah. And then my nephew, the same thing. His birthday, and this is years later, his birthday is April 24th. And so, again, I got forgotten.
Wow. There's so much going on, right?
I know so much. So this time, I actually put out my own video.
Right.
I have a Crystal happy birthday video.
That's funny.
During the break, LaRon can show it so that everybody would have a notification.
I kind of did that. My birthday was March the 12th, so people can remember, right? I did a birthday workout, and I posted it.
Okay.
Birthday workout. And then it was like, oh, it's your birthday.
Right, exactly. I didn't want them to say, oh, I didn't know.
It helped boost up the presents and all the birthday wishes. It was great.
Yeah,
because they were coming in slow. So I said, let me go do a birthday workout for these people.
That's kind of what I was like. So just in case, I want them to get the pre-notice, the trailer.
Let me help them out.
So I did a trailer for my birthday, and then another friend of mine, I sent him a text. I said, just in case, because you're kind of new to the crystal world, and you might not know, but my birthday is going to be on May 1st.
And you don't want to tell people that, but sometimes you got to help them out.
That was just a help out.
I used to think it was whack. So happy birthday to me. I'm like, really? Now? I'm doing a birthday workout today, y'all.
Oh, is it your birthday? Yes, it's going to be my birthday, right? Yes.
Burpees and all that stuff. I was getting down.
You're getting down.
Birthday workout. So listen.
Make sure you tune in to the birthday workout. Yeah, so
cool.
I just think that's just a little
Did you do a birthday workout?
No, I just took a clip of all the great stuff that took place in the last year or so. And I put it all in and created a video, and so it shows.
But you didn't go to the gym or anything for it?
Actually, now you will love this. So my birthday was on the.
Tell me you danced. I'm not asking about the dancing.
Well, I didn't even get to do that because they wanted me to go have a drink. I wanted to go to Zumba. And I kept saying, do we have to do it today? Can't I just go to the Zumba? So actually, I got no workout, unfortunately, in this week at all because my burlesque class, she's in Thailand. And so I didn't get my salsa class in, nor did I get and then Zumba.
So you could have gone to the gym and hit some weights.
I know.
Do you understand how important weights are to aid the aging process?
Yeah.
Obviously you don't.
Well,
because you would have been doing a birthday workout with weights if you really understood.
Well, it's not too late. I can still do it. I I ain't go home tonight and do like this with my weight. I have weights.
No, you do, but you don't like picking them up. But it's okay because we're having a free workout event coming up at the end of this month. Okay. And you're going to be right there next to me.
Okay.
I just know you are.
I am. There's
no doubt in my mind.
Because to the aging process, huh?
Yeah, to the aging process.
So tell me about that.
I just turned like 28, and I was at the gym working out weights like crazy.
Well, you look fabulous.
I know, thanks.
So even at 45, you're going to be looking this out.
Oh, absolutely. Who's 45?
I don't know.
Who's
I'm just
45?
saying in the future.
No, you 45?
No, in the future, we're going to get to that place, right?
At 45, I'll be working out like crazy. It's going to be serious at 45. But at 28, yeah, I still worked out. I'm coasting my way.
You coasted, okay.
Yeah, I did lift some weights, though.
But I will say that it is important to have a routine.
Absolutely.
And so many people have. And I think that's why because other people are not connected into the commitment that we have. And I think we talked about this the last time you were on the show, right? Uh-huh. That they don't have a problem calling you on the workout days to entice you to go eat fattening foods and drink and stuff like that, huh?
And not a problem at all. But see, on my birthday, I do go to crustaceans.
Okay.
And I do have the cracked crab and the garlic noodles and all the butter, but I prepare myself for that.
Oh, okay. So
I train hard in the morning. I eat very healthy. I cut out my carbs completely because I'm going to eat all those garlic noodles and all that butter, those carbs.
Okay.
So I prepare myself for it's a ritual that I do. And then I step into crustaceans guilt-free.
Okay.
And I enjoy. Then I wake up the next day and hit the gym.
Okay, so you don't have guilt with yours at all.
I prepare. I get ready for it.
Okay.
That's what I do all the holidays.
Huh?
That's what I planned.
Okay, you do that for all holidays?
All the holidays. When I dates, when I know I'm going somewhere, I plan my date. I plan my eating schedule. I make sure I continue to eat on time every 3 hours. I'm at every 3 hours. Some of my clients are every 2 hours to make sure my metabolism is still at an all-time high.
Okay.
So I don't stop eating for the whole day and have one meal. Your body ends up holding on to everything because it thinks you're starving it. Okay. It does the opposite. But I make sure I eat on time. I cut out my carbs because that's energy foods.
Okay.
If you don't burn those off, they store as fat.
Okay.
And if I'm going to dinner, I'm going to have nothing but carbs, right?
Right.
So I kind of prepare myself to enjoy.
Okay.
Yes, there's a method to the madness.
How does a person that is working, because sometimes it's hard to grab, what do you grab to eat? Say if, like I teach during the week, so I do my power shake in the morning with all my good vitamins and all that sort of stuff. I try to grab a piece of fruit or something on my way out the door, but then from 12 to 4, I'm in class. Okay. So I'm not eating anything until...
You can drink some good nutrients between 12 and 4.
And what would be those good nutrients one could drink?
A nice green smoothie.
Okay.
A green smoothie with you can go up to Creations and grab you a 50 Shades of Green. You got everything your body needs. Okay. Even spirulina, even a plant-based protein has in there. Spirulina. Your body absorbs 20% more spirulina than anything else. So you can have that. Okay. You can also... But the key to being successful is you got to plan your meals. If you're working during the day, I teach all my clients to prepare on Sunday for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and to prepare again on Wednesday for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Oh, okay. So you need to cook your meals in advance. That's how you win. And you carry your stuff with you all the time.
Okay, so busy office people are... busy office people are should be prepping themselves so that when they're doing the day and when they have appointments and their schedule doesn't allow for them to run out for a great lunch. Because I find with a lot of people, we tend to, you get hungry, right? You're in the midst of something and you just go running to wherever. When you get super, super hungry, you just start running to wherever to get the McDonald's, whatever, thinking, and you try to do healthy while you're there, but a lot of business people they don't eat right.
Well, I'm a business person as well. I'm running a full-time business, and I'm training. I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and my day doesn't stop until I finish with my clients. And after I finish with my clients, I go and I sit and do all my paperwork. But when I leave my house in the morning, I leave my house with my bag of everything I need to eat.
Okay.
And then the good news is, so I train my body it has structure. Okay. I train to eat at the same time every single day, and I train it to take in the same amount of calories every day. So, but the important thing is if I happen to miss my food, if I happen to walk out and leave my food at home, my body's trained So my metabolism won't slow down because I've been doing it like clockwork.
Oh, okay.
You follow me? So it's important to get your body in a rhythm.
Okay.
Used to a routine. And it's important to get yourself used to a routine. So when you cook on Sundays for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, and then you just have to remake what you don't have.
Okay.
For Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and you'll see it makes life a lot easier because then you don't just grab anything. You have all your nutritious meals right there on the spot.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, because I know a lot of business owners and a lot of people that you kind of, and especially those that when they work for a company. I remember when I worked for somebody, you tend to eat more junky foods and everybody's bringing sweets and stuff, and you're drinking coffee all day long, but you're gaining weight because you're obviously spreading.
But that's what I teach. I teach you how to structure your life, how to structure your meal plan, how to set yourself up to win.
Yeah, that's what you have to have. And then the brain power that comes along with
absolutely.
that. Yeah, wow. Okay, well, I'm going to put that on my second half of the year plan is to get weight, get into the weights.
So that's what we'll sit down and talk about. You and I will sit down and talk about that. And I'll plan it out for you and just watch how much easier to make your life when you don't have to rush out and grab something and you have everything you need right there.
Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to that because I'm always about taking care of myself. And one of the reasons is in addition to all this other crazy stuff, my birthday and the teaching and driving to Pomona every day for the last 3 days, my uncle, I got a call yesterday, and my uncle has pneumonia. Right. So he was with a friend of his who called me, and I told him to take him over to the hospital, and I'd meet them over there. So I'm looking when I'm there. He's 85, but he's actually taken pretty good care of himself. But he's very tiny, no body fat at all, so it's easy for him to pick up. And then he does have a very bad habit of smoking, and so we've been trying to get him to stop, but that makes his lungs much more vulnerable to stuff. So I'm over at the hospital, and I see these people coming in, and these are young people coming in with all kinds of stuff, staying and then going back out. Some of them get a little whatever, and they're in the hospital going, I got this thing. I fell 2 days ago, and now I'm here. I'm going, wow. Okay, I'm not one of those kind of hospital kind of people. I mean, I think that in most cases your body heals itself. Right. And if it
heals itself if you're feeding it everything it needs to operate at the optimal level. But if you're not giving your body the antioxidants and all the nutrients it needs, it ain't going to heal itself. And the proper sleep, ain't no healing going on.
No healing going on? Okay.
Not off of potato chips and candy. Sugar tears through your organs.
Really?
So no, there's no healing going on.
Okay.
None whatsoever.
All right.
I'm sorry.
Well, just burst everybody's bubble. No sugar. Well, let me ask, how do you, because I mean the temptation is there.
Oh,
so how do you counteract that temptation for sugar? And is there some sort of balance that you do?
Your body's craving something, yes. So I would, that time of the month women are saying I need chocolate?
Yeah.
So we know that's a lie now because we've done the test. Your body is craving something. Cut up an apple as small as you can. It's just craving some good sugar, maybe. An apple.
Have the natural sugar is
in
better.
Your mind, act like it's sugar. Act like it's chocolate. It does the same thing. All of my clients will tell you. When I told them to do that trick, chop it up nice and fine, and just put it in a little baggie and take your time and eat it. It'll handle every sugar craving you have.
Really?
Yeah, green apple would do the work.
Really?
Yeah, it will.
Oh, okay.
It will. And then don't let yourself get hungry.
So that's really what it is.
See, the green apple also has great fiber, a lot of fiber that makes your body feel fuller longer. But then it has the sweet taste that you need. Yeah. It's natural sugar. Okay. It's better than any man-made sugar.
Okay. Yeah. And I actually absolutely love fruit, actually, for real.
So you're not craving that Snickers. You're craving something sweet, and you can get that from some fruit. Yes.
Okay. All right. So you guys hear that? That is how you take care of your sugar cravings. Yeah. So how do you take care of your salty cravings?
Have some salt. Sometimes if your body needs salt, have some salt. Unless you have high blood pressure or something like that, but there's nothing wrong with having a little bit of salt. Okay. Sometimes if your body's craving salt, you may need a little bit of salt.
Okay, so just something that's light that just takes care of it. Yeah. But don't overindulge. Is that what you're saying?
No, don't overindulge.
Okay. You are
like
so
sometimes
disciplined.
When I first started, discipline is a learned thing. Okay. So there was times when I would get a bag of potato chips and take a few, eat a few, just to. satisfy my desire to have something, like give the rest to the homeless person. I walk out the door and I'm, hold on a second, and I eat a couple and hand them to him.
Oh, okay.
I stop at the next, that's what I would do.
Okay.
And he eats, and I can it works, right?
So you're doing a good thing, and you're taking care of your
taste test.
The taste test.
It works.
Okay.
A tablespoon of something.
Okay.
And move on. You don't have to indulge in the whole entire thing. So discipline is a learned skill. So that's it.
And it's interesting because as children, we are taught how to eat properly.
Right.
If you have a parent, and my mom was very good, we ate at home. In fact, I don't remember having fast food. I had never been to and this is interesting, but I had never been to a McDonald's or any fast food place until I started working.
Right.
And in an office. And then we started going out to lunch. That was when I first started experiencing.
Same thing in my home. My
Really?
mother's a health food fanatic. My father had Vitiligo. How do you pronounce it?
Oh, the one with the...
Pronounce it for me.
I think it's Vigiligo.
Yeah, he had that. Okay. My mother's a health food nut, so she's juiced. This is how I got introduced to juicing and blending. Okay. I remember my father coming home from work, and my mother would have him stand there, and she would just study him real intently, looking at every little spot. And then she'd walk away, read her books, and then she was cooking up what we call a concoction. So one day when my father came in from work, there it was sitting on the counter, and she made him drink it. He was like, I got to drink it, otherwise she ain't going to give me any peace.
Right.
So he drank it every single day. And then one day I remember him running from upstairs saying, it's working, the concoction is working. My father's skin was starting to turn back.
Really?
Brown, yeah. So he juiced himself. That's how powerful juicing, not blending, juicing is.
Okay.
So from there, when I was born, I was diagnosed with a pinch colon. They wanted to operate because I couldn't pass my bowels well. But my mother wouldn't let them. She got a second and third opinion, and they told her if you feed her properly, she would probably grow out of it. Oh. So my mother, growing up, no fast food, all green stuff. 21 years old, moved to California, got rushed to the hospital. My stomach was as hard as a brick. I hadn't had a bowel movement in maybe a month.
Wow.
The doctor said, when was the last time you used the restroom? I said, I have no idea. I don't remember. So he said, you're literally full of boo-boo. Oh. After doing whatever they did, he said, you got stool up to your chest, and if you don't have a bowel movement, we're going to have to manually remove it. I was on the phone talking to my mom because my family was in Cleveland. I was crying. I said, we got to move these bowels. They were giving me everything, every kind of laxative. Nothing happened. We were praying. I was crying. And finally, my bowels moved. A little peak boo-boo came out, and I was able to go home. Okay. And then my mother got me back on the regimen of nothing. So
when you left home,
I started eating crazy. I almost killed myself. Fried food was my best friend. At that time, I was 20. At that time, I was having pork chops.
Oh.
Everything.
Oh, so everything.
Fried chicken, french fries, everything.
Almost killed yourself.
Last time I ever had it in my life.
Well, that is definitely will help you stay on a regimented path because you know that something drastic can happen and you've already experienced that drastic. But I remember that when I was growing up, we ate balanced meals every single day, and it wasn't until I started going out. Now, when it turned back again was when my mom got cancer.
Right.
And so after we did all the study, and we're that research kind of people,
yes.
And so when we did all of the studies, realized one, sugar is very bad if you have cancer because it feeds on sugar. So we eliminated
that. So
that.
Fibroids.
Fibroids, right. So we eliminated all of that. Greens, the broccolis, the kale, and made salads and that kind of stuff. So then I switched to I went back to the way I had been eating when I was more of a child, and then it helped out. And it actually, my mother had small cell lung cancer, and which normally has a progressive rate of their survival rate is usually within 6 months of a year of being diagnosed. My mom was alive for 5 years.
Wow!
And that was because we went into and so when she went to chemo, she actually was driving herself and everything.
Wow!
And for the first 3 or 4 years, then it started moving around, but. For the first 3 years, we were still eating very healthy, and so that changed, reduced and eliminated the sugar for her, reduced it so drastically for me, and then I started working out during that process.
Have you ever heard of the ketose diet?
I have. That's the I think I've taken, because that's raspberries, right?
No, the ketose diet is they believe that the older you get, you don't need carbohydrates. So it's pretty much a meat diet only, vegetables and meat, because cancer feeds on sugar, any kind of sugar, and carbohydrates are the sugar in the body.
Right.
So a diet that's high in carbohydrates will also feed your cancer. So they're coming out with a new diet for dogs, probably the first keto diet for dogs, because Quest I'm talking about. Quest, he was the Quest bars, the protein bars, they're a cancer research company first.
Oh, really?
Yes. So they've been doing cancer research on dogs for years.
Okay.
And so they're coming out with the first dog food that's ketos with no carbohydrates. And they strongly push no carbs the older you get, because your body becomes, your immune system gets slower and your body becomes more susceptible to cancer. So they believe in no carbs whatsoever. So I pretty much practice a keto diet. I have carbs after breakfast or after my first workout with weights, and I don't do many carbs whatsoever, because they still turn. Even though fruit is good sugar, cancer still feeds on every kind of sugar.
Okay.
Yeah, every kind of sugar, but man-made sugar is worse. Table sugar is worse.
Worse than it.
So you just have to be careful.
Yeah. And I kind of from the carbs, I know, again, I understood that, and one of the things that we cut out, we were a rice family, and I cut that out. So if
white flour and all that.
So if I eat rice, I went for the more grainier 7-grain breads. And then if I ate rice, it would be early, morning enough to give it enough time to work through, never at the end of the day. Yeah. Now, my sister and family, rice is a staple for them. Yes. They don't do potatoes, but they do rice. And so, of course, corn is another carb. And so there's a lot of things. Really understanding. And I think if you're a diabetic, you're maintaining and you're on a maintenance plan, you tend to be more cognizant of what you eat, right?
Right.
Because they tell you to eat small meals, grazing, and I know a lot of athletes eat like that. Yeah, I have some friends that play basketball and have girlfriends.
But that's how you're supposed to eat. Just
every
smaller
2
meals
hours.
every 2 hours, every 3. Start initially if you're training. If you first start training, your body's hungry because it's doing something new. So you may have to eat every 2 hours. And then I start off every 2 hours, and I'm every 3.
Okay.
And then nice portion sizes, making sure your body getting everything it needs. Yeah.
Okay, well, you are absolutely fantastic at the control of it, but now I understand.
I'm learning, too. I'm still learning, because, I had another scare in my life when I was eating everything I'm supposed to eat. I was eating very healthy, and I had to make some other adjustments because my body could no longer take the hormones and the pesticides in the foods. It's not a choice for me anymore. I developed mitral valve prolapse when the leaflets in my heart wasn't closing properly and blood began to spill out. And if I wanted a better quality of life, I didn't have a choice. I had to cut out the chicken, cut out all the hormones, or it was going to kill me. Okay, so are you now vegetables and fish? I'm vegetables and fish. Okay. Yeah, the hormones, we don't know what's happening outside. And the fish isn't that much better. Okay. No, fish has they're saying fish has a lot of bacteria in it now. Oh, Lord. So, yeah, it's just like, I'm praying over all my food now. Lord Jesus, Christ of Nazareth. You know what I'm saying? It's that deep. Got to call my first and last name. I got to pray over you, food. Yeah, because there's a lot of artificial stuff happening. Yeah. So, and even your vegetables, you got to... Broccoli's a more regular broccoli. I hear all broccoli is now genetically modified. Yeah. And corn. Yeah. I mean, it's just like, really, you need a machine. Yeah, then we'll find out that's killing us later on in life. I don't know, girl. I don't know. Juicing, maybe. Maybe juicing. Maybe juicing. Yeah, maybe juicing. The juicing's good. Yeah. Well, we're going to take our first break, and we're going to bring on our guests, and we're going to get rid of this little gnat that's flying in front of my eyes. And so we'll take a station break, and we'll be right back. Right back.
Hello. Meet Larry. Larry is a general contractor. Larry is very good at his craft, but Larry has a very tough time managing his paperwork because he is busy taking care of his clients' needs. Larry just cannot find his important business documents when needed. Larry is also being passed over for bid opportunities from prime contractors because he is perceived as not ready. He doesn't know where his business license, certifications, insurance, and other key corporate documents are located most of the time. Lucy owns an auto body and collision repair shop and has been using a business management and procurement assistance program called Small Biz Pro to keep her business organized, business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. Small Biz Pro is a 3-in-1 cloud-based business management, procurement, and market research assistance system designed to help businesses become business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. It also provides back-office operation solutions for small businesses. Lucy is able to stay ahead of her competitors because she uses Small Biz Pro to manage her business daily. Lucy just clicks on Small Biz Pro from her tablet, mobile phone, laptop, or any internet-accessible device for data retrieval, and she's got it. Lucy introduces Larry to Small Biz Pro, and now Larry is more organized and can now find all of his documents and new bid opportunities in seconds. Larry now saves $120 in labor costs for each missing or misplaced document. Just simply go to your web browser and log into smallbizpro.net and register today for a limited 30-day free trial offer. Services start as low as $1 per day. Let's put the competition out of business. Small Biz Pro. If you stay ready, you don't need to get ready. Register now at smallbizpro.net and begin saving money. Email info@smallbizpro.net or call 626-533-1186.
Each year, the state of California contracts for billions of dollars of goods and services. We as a state can and should leverage our spending power to achieve policy goals that help the people of California. One major policy goal we have is to create jobs and grow our state economy. Promoting the development of small businesses within California is a great way for us to do that, because California's small businesses are the engine of economic growth. 95% of companies in California are small businesses, and with the right opportunities, these small businesses can grow to become the next Apple, Netflix, or Tesla. So let's all do our part to promote small business development and grow our state economy. Together, we can really make it.
Hello, meet Larry. Larry is a general contractor. Larry is very good at his craft, but Larry has a very tough time managing his paperwork because he is busy taking care of his clients' needs. Larry just cannot find his important business documents when needed. Larry is also being passed over for bid opportunities from prime contractors because he is perceived as not ready. He doesn't know where his business license, certifications, insurance, and other key corporate documents are located most of the time. Lucy owns an auto body and collision repair shop and has been using a business management and procurement assistance program called Small Biz Pro to keep her business organized, business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. Small Biz Pro is a 3-in-1 cloud-based business management, procurement, and market research assistance system designed to help businesses become business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. It also provides back-office operation solutions for small businesses. Lucy is able to stay ahead of her competitors because she uses Small Biz Pro to manage her business daily. Lucy just clicks on Small Biz Pro from her tablet, mobile phone, laptop, or any internet-accessible device for data retrieval, and she's got it. Lucy introduces Larry to Small Biz Pro, and now Larry is more organized and can now find all of his documents and new bid opportunities in seconds. Larry now saves $120 in labor costs for each missing or misplaced document. Just simply go to your web browser and log into smallbizpro.net and register today for a limited 30-day free trial offer. Services start as low as $1 per day. Let's put the competition out of business. Small Biz Pro. If you stay ready, you don't need to get ready. Register now at smallbizpro.net and begin saving money. Email info@smallbizpro.net or call 626-533-1186.
And welcome back to the Business Zone. Don and I were having a lively conversation,
Yes,
and we've determined that there is nothing that we can eat.
We're just gonna starve.
We're gonna just starve.
Starve to death.
Juice. We're gonna juice. That was our ultimate solution to the problem.
Right.
And now we are back, and I have my wonderful guest here on the show, Miss Tanya Mackey and her wonderful daughter, Erin Mackey.
Beautiful mother.
And they got a mom and daughter kind of team thing going on, don't they?
Yes.
It's really nice to see.
Absolutely love them.
Yeah, I know. And they're part of the Bella Network.
Yes.
And so we're a sisterhood that we support each other and uplift each other and support our businesses. And it's been, when I was first introduced to it, which came because of my good friend over here, Dawn. She brought me into the Bella Network.
Don't you forget that either.
I will never forget that. We just have to make sure Alicia remembers that. Huh? That is how I got there.
Absolutely.
And then when I got there, I met wonderful Miss Tanya Mackey and her daughter Erin. Although I think I had met you prior to the bet.
Yes.
But I can't remember how we met.
Recycling Black Dollars?
No, it wasn't
someplace
there.
else.
Somewhere else we met.
At my studio.
Was that your...
At the dance? No, I
Yeah.
never saw. Yeah, maybe
Yes,
so.
she danced there.
Yeah, I did.
At
So
Zumba?
because I'm not quite sure how we
I
connected.
know.
That's how she was at the studio with her husband.
Oh,
That's where you met her.
Oh, okay.
I was waiting on you guys to remember that. Yes. she
Oh,
was
I
at the
didn't
studio.
remember how we met. It's just
Yes.
one day I knew her.
She be at the studio with her husband.
Okay, so when you had that, was it the book thing?
No, they would be there dancing, both of them.
Oh.
Yeah, we did.
They did Zumba with us.
Oh, okay. All
I can't
right.
believe you don't
Wow.
remember her.
I don't.
Yes.
I don't. Well, I just knew I met her.
That's where you met her.
Okay. Well, that was it.
I was sitting here waiting for you to say, "Oh, that's where you met her." At the dance
Okay.
studio.
Well,
I'm just changing your life, girl.
I know you have. You were just like one of the best things that happened when I met you, huh? Thank you, Dawn.
You're welcome. That's what I do.
Is that what you do? So
Now she gonna change our finances.
Yeah, right. You're right. That's why we have her on the show. So everyone, that's Erin, and then that's Miss Tanya. So let me tell you a little bit about Tanya. Erin didn't send me over a bio, but we're gonna let her tell us in her own way. So Tanya is an accomplished entrepreneur, business executive, financial advisor, and CEO of National Fringe Benefits, a 34-year-old full-service financial company. Tanya has built a career on the trust earned from her clients by matching their unique needs with a mixture of financial products and services that produce results. In 1984, Tanya became a registered representative and received her personal financial planning destination.
Destination.
Yeah. In 1999, and she received the Woman of the Year award in 2011, presented by the National Association of Professional Women for excellence and dedication within her profession as a financial consultant. Tanya has been recognized by the leading professional organizations in the life insurance industry, a $1 Million Roundtable in DRT. She was featured in True Wealth magazine for outstanding accomplishments as an entrepreneur. Welcome, Tanya. Look at us. Even her daughter had to give her a high five.
That's my mommy.
Sounds good.
Yeah. And then your daughter joined you after school. Were you going to tell us how you came to be in the fold of working with your parents?
Absolutely. Actually, I joined the business in 2011, 2012. My major was actually entertainment and sports marketing, so I was working for AEG for a little while.
Okay.
I do have a passion for sports. I have a passion for entertainment. But, I worked there for a couple of years, and it was just this corporate ladder that I just didn't want to climb. There was definitely a glass ceiling.
Okay.
And so, rewind a couple of years. When I was in college, I talked to both my parents, and we talked about the opportunity of me coming onto the business. But of course, once you get to school, you kind of go your own way, you do your own thing. I changed my major several times. I wanted to have absolutely nothing to do with their business. And even though growing up, I knew how successful they were, I knew how many people they were helping. It wasn't something that I wanted to do.
Okay.
And so I just went through my own path, and I worked for AEG for a little while, and I just kind of came to this realization that this is just not this isn't going to be what I ultimately want it to be for me. It wasn't going to be a career. It felt like it was a job.
Okay.
So I came back to them. I talked to them, and I told them, hey, you know, I'm thinking about leaving AEG, and is the opportunity still available? And you know, they put me through, you know, some hoops that I had to jump through. I had to go to school.
It wasn't.
You know, it wasn't an easy transfer. You know, we talk about generational wealth, and we talk about legacy planning and transferring business and that kind of thing. But it wasn't an easy transfer. There was some requirements, some things that I had to meet, some things that I had to do to make sure that. That they wanted me to do to make sure that I was capable, to make sure that I was disciplined, to make sure that I was able to handle the job. So I came to them in 2011 and I told them that, hey, you know, is the opportunity still available? And they said yes. But at that time, there was still some hoops that I still had to jump through.
No. So, Mom and Dad, y'all are tough, huh?
It's probably why I'm the only family member working the business.
Right, exactly.
But, you know, I started off very low level. You know, I started off, you know, pushing paperwork. But I didn't complain. You know, I was pushing paperwork, I was answering phones, and that allowed me to gain the knowledge of every aspect of the business. So I appreciate that. And so now here we are, 7 years later.
Okay.
I'm the COO.
Oh, well, congratulations. Okay. That is
National Fringe
wonderful.
Benefits, and really just you know, trying to be a part of something great and take it to a completely different level.
Right.
And I enjoy working alongside my mom. I enjoy working alongside my dad. You know, they're great motivators. They have my best interests at heart, and I know that they want to see me do well, and I want to see their business do well. So we're working together. We've been working together, and we are. You know, it's our mission and our passion to change lives.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes. That is
And
awesome.
Tanya,
Good
wow,
stuff.
you have, and that's great because a lot of times kids are brought into businesses and it's kind of like just a
Here you go.
perjunctory
Like a
here, come on
handout.
in.
Right.
But you're not really giving them, you almost, she was almost an employee that you
Yes.
hired and then she had to prove
Right.
herself
Yes.
in order to move up to the level and
Yes.
become the CEO of the
Yes.
organization.
Yes.
Right.
That's fantastic. That's some good stuff. That's some good parenting too.
Well, thank you. We thought about it. When you have your kids working for you, when they say, I want to work for you, we wanted Erin to go out into corporate America and really see what corporate America was like, to really see what a real job is like.
Right.
So when she came back, she could really appreciate what we had to offer to be able to have the flexibility that she has and to be kind of under our leadership, because when you go work for somebody else, it's a totally different ballpark.
Right, exactly. And I think it's also understanding that because a lot of times when there's family-owned businesses and your children work there, it's because you're family, right? Mm-hmm. So you don't operate within the same boundaries as an employee.
Yes.
You, mom and dad, and so you think that sometimes that there'll be a pass for certain things, and I think that happens a lot in family-owned businesses.
Yes.
And then it can create dysfunction when other employees are brought into the fold.
Yes.
Because they can see that there's a special place of favoritism because you're the boss's daughter or like Trump's family.
Not just with family, but with your customers as well.
Yeah.
They might be a little, like, not happy about her calling, but now they know that she's just like you calling, right?
Exactly.
They can trust in she has the knowledge and she knows the business.
Yeah, she's definitely our succession plan.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. And we're going to talk about that. But before we talk about that, you two ladies just came back from Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And that must have been awesome. And you went with the Mr. George Fraser, so you were really getting it from his perspective, and he's all about the black family, the black culture, the black people, and how do we acquire economic equality in this new America that we're living in.
Yes.
So how was that?
The trip was I mean, we're still trying to, it's 2 weeks later and we're still trying to put together and process our thoughts and, process what we learned. We learned so much. It was a phenomenal trip. It was a mind-blowing, eye-opening trip, and we went with a great group of people. We went with Dr. Frazier. We went with Anthony Browder, the Egyptologist. We were with Dr. Whitaker, and so they were our elders.
Wow.
They were our elders, and we had I've never been on a study tour before, so I wasn't really sure what to expect, but once we got there, we had a complete itinerary. We visited multiple temples throughout the day. We woke up for breakfast. We hopped on the bus. We had 5:30 a.m. wake-up calls.
Wow.
We sat and we had breakfast together. We got on our bus. We went to the temples. We had an amazing tour guide who was phenomenal and extremely, extremely knowledgeable, which is, I understand now why Anthony Browder works with him, because he's awesome.
Okay.
Ahmed is his name.
that the young man with his daughter at the Power Conference? He and his daughter were there at the conference?
I don't believe so.
Oh, okay. So he's actually Egyptian.
He lives in Egypt.
Oh, okay. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So we had our itinerary laid out. We visited some phenomenal temples, and seen a lot. And one of the things I kind of felt in the beginning was I was really overwhelmed. I couldn't even process any more information. My head was hurting.
Oh, wow.
It was just so much, and I was just completely overwhelmed, and just really grateful and thankful that I got an opportunity to see something like this and to see it with the group of people that we went with. So we are family. There was about 12 or 13 of us, but we are truly, truly family.
Fantastic. Now, Tanya, you travel everywhere.
Yes.
You and Jen, you guys have, I want to live y'all's life.
Me too.
Yeah, you do. Before that, they haven't even retired yet, and they go everywhere. So, if we were going to rate your trips, where would this be?
This would be at the top. And we go to Paris every year. We go to Brazil every year. But we never really thought about going to Africa.
Okay.
I feel like I've been brainwashed for, I'm not going to say how old I am.
Right.
Okay, that's okay, because we're all
over 50 years.
Right,
okay.
right.
I feel like I've been brainwashed because I didn't know what I didn't know. I almost didn't know that Egypt was in Africa. Okay. So Egypt is Africa. So those are kind of the things that I just didn't know. And I actually got mad. I'm mad that I didn't go before. I'm mad that I feel like Europeans have stolen our history and distorted things to their benefit, because it was an incredible, amazing trip. And to go with a group like Aaron said that we went with was just eye-opening. We were empowered. We felt like we can do anything. We got a chance to speak to our ancestors and write letters to our ancestors. And we did three days on the Nile on a cruise. And so I rated number 1. Oh. Africa will be a place that I will definitely go every single year.
Wow.
Because of the experience. I think we're affected more than we even know when we came back. And we'll tell you about some aha moments later on in the conversation.
Okay.
Wow.
My niece, so this is a little history about me. My younger sister, she was, back in the day, I told her she was always she must have been the welcome committee, because anybody that was from another country, she seemed to, and most of them were coming from the Middle East and Egypt. And so my niece is actually part Egyptian. Her dad, my sister married him, and so my niece is Egyptian, and so she was here until she was 5. I pretty much took care of her, and then when she was 5, my sister took her to Egypt. So she lived in Egypt with her family till she was 23 years old, and then we brought her back to the States because she wasn't quite. She just needed to be here, and so she came, and she didn't understand one word of English. And I did not speak one word of Arabic.
Really?
And so we had to compete. We had to communicate. But again, she was in her 20s. But like our 20s, your 20s, no. She wasn't she was really the equivalent of a really more of a 15, 16-year-old.
Really?
So here she is coming to America in her 20s, an illegal adult. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she doesn't speak the language. I don't really speak the Arabic language. And but what I found out when she was here, because I was concerned, she's a beautiful young lady. I was like, oh Lord, all the predatory whatevers are just going to take advantage of her. But I found out that she had a lot of other things that are completely chaotic, but her sense of understanding how to deal with a man, oh, she had that down. I never had to worry about that because she could handle it. And because she was so naive, she couldn't speak the language. They had no choice but to call me to ask if they wanted to take her out on a date and how they should take her or how they should communicate. Because, young men in their 20s are speaking slang. She didn't even speak English, so she truly didn't understand the slang part. She's like, what do they mean? And then they'd call me and go, I want to take her out. How do I do that? And then I get to have that conversation with them before they actually got out, right? And then just some of her colloquialism, she would use her leg, which she really meant her foot. She'd go, my leg hurt. And I'm like, you mean your foot? So now she's her birthday day after mine. She's 34. And so she's been in and out of the country. But one of the things that's different from her to our children is that she will pick up in a minute and go back to Egypt. One guy she talked to, I found she was on her way to Turkey. So she's lived in Turkey by herself. And she's gone back to Egypt. She went back 2 years ago as a makeup artist because that's what she came here to go to school for. And she worked on set for 2 years. But Egypt has become very difficult for the young people to live. There's no way for them to make a living. So she learned it firsthand because her family are all off onto different tangents. So she had her own apartment. But you can't be that independent in the new Egypt when you are Middle Eastern and you are a Muslim. And so now she came back here. She moved to Ventura. She got her a room. She does eyebrows and makeup up there, and she lives up there on her own. And she likes Ventura, but much more free-spirited, much more independent. And I have another girlfriend that grew up in South Africa the same way. When she was 19, she left home and went to Europe to live. She went to England and she went to Italy to live. And so a different mindset and a different way of conducting themselves. So now my niece she wants to get married to some guy in Qatar. And I was like, whoa, we done been here. So you don't work over there. You cannot have, as a Muslim young woman, you can't have that freedom.
Yes.
Because of the religious constraints over there. So that's interesting.
Yes.
But, for us, did you feel more black?
I did. I did. I felt a closeness. I felt a oneness with the people. They really admire African Americans. And one lady, not on this trip, she said, "You're not African American. You're African." And I really understand that. But they almost kind of worship you because they see that you've come up, that you've made it, so to speak, a lot better than what they have there. So they just love you. They come up to you and they just want to talk to you, and they're relentless. They're probably the best salespeople I've ever seen in my life. I mean, little kids are just so cute, and just for $1. I know we experienced that when we wrote Campbell's.
Really?
Oh, wow.
And Aaron did the
hot air balloon ride.
Oh, did you?
4 a.m. It was an amazing view. I mean, you had like the desert on one side, and it looked like there was like this divider that was just dividing. That was dividing Egypt, So there was the desert on one side, and then you had these crops on the other side, and it was just a beautiful sight. You had all these hot air balloons that were going up, that were lighting up the sky at 5 and 6 a.m. in the morning. So it was a sight to see.
So did you go to Alexandria?
We went to Cairo. Luxor? We went to Luxor. We went to Aswan. We went to the Nubian village. Which is my favorite. Because everyone looks like us. Everyone looks like us.
So when you say, do we feel black? We feel proud.
You feel proud.
You really, really feel proud when you come back from there. Because our history, what we learned so much in some of our study groups, that before American history, there was African history. And so when you learn all that, it is just incredible to know that what your history is, how powerful we are, and how what's another word? It's
just mighty and great.
How
invincible. I mean, that's how. That's one of the words that I can kind of describe how I felt when we left. We had an aha moment our last day. Because we knew that it was going to be a transformational trip. We knew that we were on this journey to information.
Tell them about the passage, how it started.
Okay.
Yes.
Is that okay?
Yes,
Is
please
okay?
do that.
Yeah. The first thing, they had it. They were very organized, so they had certain things we had to do, like write a letter to our ancestors. And the first thing we did was they gave us a passage just to kind of bring us into the light of really what everything's about. You want to read it?
Yeah. Is that okay?
Please do.
Okay. So, Middle Passage Reflection, Dear Tour Africa, Egypt, 2018 Sojourner. Less than 6 hours ago, you lifted off from JFK International Airport on your historic transatlantic flight to Kemet, Egypt, North Africa. Whether this is your first trip or a return visit, there is almost no doubt that you have awaited this departure with great anticipation, right?
Yes.
We were counting down.
Wow.
Since last year. Despite your conscious personal motivations, you're also participating in an important homegoing as part of an ongoing testament to all of those that survived the indescribable horrors of the dreaded transatlantic enslavement process. Your trip will stand as another important expression of gratitude to those who endured, adapted to, and survived the terror of enslavement while clinging to life with the hope that one day you would learn of and tell their story. It is undeniable that you are a descendant of the strongest of the strong Africans who, despite the conditions, circumstances, or abuse, defy death and serve as living testaments to the fact that Black life cannot be extinguished. It is our sincere hope and prayer that the important initiatives you commence as a result of this journey will A, lay the cornerstones for a new era of humanitarianism for the global village. B, guide and enhance the purpose-driven meaning in your life. C, bring attention, voice, and honor to those who yearn to be heard. And D, contribute to crafting the reconciliation model needed to make the world a better place for all. We see you as a seasoned and mature professional. We encourage you to seize every available opportunity to research and craft a new narrative of present-day descendants throughout the world, and to determine how their lives and histories have contributed to, overlap, and interface with your own. More importantly, while crossing the Atlantic tonight, be mindful that you are flying over the world's largest African cemetery, which holds the unmarked graves of countless millions of your African ancestors, victims of global terrorism, who were murdered, dying tragically without proper funeral rites, whose families and communities were denied the traditional opportunity to pay their respects, support their passage to the afterlife, and whose spirits continue to cry out for closure. Your assignment during this leg of your journey is to draft a letter to your African ancestors, those who helped lay the foundation for ethics, morals, science, medicine, art, civilization, architecture, law, education, spirituality, etc. Those that fought and died to remain free, as well as those that survived to continue the unrelenting challenge to enslavement, Jim Crow, discriminatory laws, oppressive practices, and all other forms of disenfranchisement to make your life possible and or more comfortable. Once completed, keep your letter with you at all times and make edits as you wish during your sojourn so that it will be available when called for. Enjoy your flight. A new future looks forward to collaborating with you on the other side. Yours truly, Dr. George Fraser, Anthony Browder, and Dr. Whitaker.
Wow.
Isn't that powerful?
That was just the beginning. That was at the airport.
Right.
We get
Really?
this.
Oh my God.
So this was just the beginning.
Yes.
And it got better
What did you
and better.
think after you read that? At the airport.
This is my first time flying across the Atlantic.
Right.
So this is my longest trip.
Right.
My furthest trip. So, but I didn't even think that.
Right.
I didn't even
You're
think.
just going on vacation.
Yeah,
Your
yeah.
parents going on
That's
vacation all the
what
time.
I didn't even think about the graveyard.
Right.
How many people are in that body of water. I didn't even think that,
Right.
and just that alone was was mind-blowing.
They brought us into the moment. It was the awareness they wanted to bring us into the moment, because remember, we don't know our history. I found out I didn't know anything about my history. And so I'm excited about studying more, going back, learning more, and applying what we learned, and so we can make it better.
So
for
are you going to do your DNA?
I am going to do my DNA.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's the first thing that I'm going to do.
I did my ancestry because I needed to find out what here. And then when I get to the Power Network conference this summer, I'm going to do my African one. Yeah. Now, there was I watch a lot of foreign movies.
Yes.
And which helps you better understand other cultures, right? So there was a movie, and I go through different nationalities and different types of people. So this last couple weeks ago was my Nigerian African movement. So I found a movie on Netflix, and I can't remember the name at this point, but this guy was from where was he from? He was from Cameroon, I think. I think that's where he's from. And he worked at he was a tour guide, and he was at the tomb of where they actually got the boat in this particular place where they got the boat to take the slaves to come to America, right? And so he worked there, and so as he was walking through the doing it, he was like, "Where are my people?" So of his village, he knew that some of his ancestors had been taken as well. So he followed the track from Africa to America. Oh, wow. And he traced down his family to a plantation. There was 2 plantations his people were on in South Carolina. And he went to their graves. He then went to the logs, and he found out about his people. And he followed that track from there to the ones that migrated out to America, to the north. And so he went to New York. And he actually found cousins that were lineage that from his tribe.
Wow.
It was a powerful movie.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, and when they connected, they actually looked alike.
Yeah.
They had and he was saying, he told this one lady, and she was she lived in New York, so New Yorkers have an edge to them, right? And he's from Africa, loving, giving. And so he was going, in our village, our people are long and lean and spirally. He says, look at you and look at me. He said, we're related. And she was like, what are you talking about? Right. He goes, no, I'm not crazy. And then he went and he showed her their family tree because he had started it in Africa. And then by the time he came to America, he had expanded it with all her cousins. And so when she looked at the family tree, she saw her grandmother.
Oh, wow.
Is that not powerful?
That's amazing. One of the speakers we had was a professor in Ghana, and she looked at Jim, her husband. And she said, oh my God, wait till you get to the Nubian village. They look like you. And so we were in the Nubian village, and we were walking down the street, and we saw these 2 older guys, and one looked identical to my husband's dad.
Oh, yes.
We were like, and Jim was like, oh my God. He was staring at him. He said, oh my God, he looks just like us. And so that was a good feeling,
Yeah, but that we really, we know that's the history, but of course the emphasis has never been put on us attaching us to really what was only 3 generations back, because my great-great-grandmother was the slave. So attaching us to that whole, to the people, right?
Right.
And so I was at a friend's house who are very Afrocentric on the East Coast, in Baltimore actually, and there was a book, they had a coffee table book, and it was called The Faces of Africa. And now we were there, we had brought some kids there for the tennis tournament, and so there was about 50 people in the house, and I'm looking at the book, and literally I'm looking at the book, and then I'm looking at the people, and I'm just like, and this is a book that's this thick, I am picking out people like, wow. And people are like, what are you doing? But everybody looked like, everybody in that room looked like somebody that was in Africa.
Yes.
Isn't that's just powerful.
That's our ancestors.
That's our ancestors.
And that's why we're so powerful, As a people, we're strong, we're resilient, we're powerful.
Yes.
No matter what happens, if we're down, we'll get back up. And that's our ancestors. That's our DNA. It is really in our DNA.
So what were your study groups? So were you learning, like if you were going to lecture, did you go to the pyramids and all the tradition? And so were you studying finding out the behind the scenes, not the stuff that tourists normally
Truly the behind the scenes.
Okay. Yeah.
Truly to see, like one of the okay, just dropped it, but I wrote it down here.
Okay.
One of the study groups that we went through was, it says before there was Europe or American history, there was African history, and it says that African people have been written out of the respectable commentary of history. And so they talked about that a lot, and how Egypt, the Nile, was a civilization that was already old before Europe was ever born. And see, we don't know that. And in there it said that the Europeans have claimed the non-African creation of Egypt in order to downgrade the position of African people in this world history. And they further talked about that the archaeologists' research of Europeans disproved that their claim of Egypt as European or at least of Asian creation. And they said that they could not find a single artifact in Western Asia that, or in mainstream Asia, that was older than the artifacts of the Nile civilization of Africa. So these are the kind of things that we were learning every night in our study group, and it just made you feel good. It was just powerful. But again, like Erin said, one girl, that lady was with us, she just, I'm just mad that we aren't, this is not in our history.
And I think because I do a lot of research on our history, and I'm very pro-Black, and I don't ever apologize for it. And I think it's because I'm my third eye is open, and I understand of what our people. And from time to time, I'll even put something on Facebook when we're behaving the way we're behaving. It's like our ancestors would be really sad at what we're doing, and that we're not connecting with each other and being supportive of each other and being united as a people. And because when they got over here, they suffered a lot, and they didn't have to live. And if they didn't live, we wouldn't be alive,
That's
right?
That's
So their sacrifices was to make sure to continue to perpetuate our race, because that whatever 3-4 billion people that came over here could have died, and none of us would be sitting here.
That's right.
Which then. And if you look at the real world, America would not have been the power that they were. They were the power based upon our labor, our efforts. We came over and gave them free labor, right? And so without us, so if you think about what our ancestors did to make sure that we're sitting here at this table, or I have an opportunity to have a show, Dawn has an opportunity to do what she's doing, that we can speak, that's because of our ancestors.
That's right.
It got nothing to do with us. It had to do with they gave up their lives.
They gave up their lives
for us to be here.
That's right.
So, when you see things, and everybody know the crazy controversy with Kanye West.
Yes.
That that slavery was a choice. When you know your history, and I went through a period of time, even before Roots, I had read everything that there was to read. By the time I was 12 years old, I had gone through all of the novels, everything about slavery. It made you cry. I was young, so I really wasn't quite as affected. But if I go back to try to read it now, it would be really, really difficult. And for him to say that it was a choice,
Wow.
dude, you don't know our history.
No, he doesn't.
You know
He
nothing
needs to go to
about
Egypt.
us.
I think he's sick right now. Something.
I think there is something going
mentally
on,
wrong with him.
because, and then to continue to justify it if you have grandparents that came from the South, it didn't just stop after they emancipated. It continued on. And even today, to make you feel lesser of a person, to use a word that's just totally, they feel will annihilate you because it puts you back in that place of servitude. So I'm angry all the time. So when I go out, people are like, "Ooh, there goes Crystal," but that's because I know my history.
And you said you, as a child, you were reading that. How did that happen? Your parents were, because I didn't read anything about that as a child.
I was I was in New York, so that's a different feel from here to there.
Yes.
New York, there's a lot of very pro African people people there that are very proud of who we are. And it actually started because when I was a kid, my school, they had a reading program in our school, which was predominantly black. And so we started this program when I was in 7th years old, so 2nd grade. Mm-hmm. So by the time I was in 6th grade, I was already reading on a college level. Mm. So I had read everything, and my mom was all about reading.
No
so
wonder you're so smart and know all the stuff.
I know. Yeah. That's why I have all this research.
Right.
Yeah. Makes sense now.
Because I was always reading, right? Yeah. And I outread everything at the library that they would allow me based upon my age. Wow. So then she had to start taking me to the public library. Mm-hmm. And then she had to buy books. So when I left Buffalo, we had like 5 bookcases full of books that I had read. And everywhere I go, I have a storage place because my books are like my little friends. Yes. And I can't even throw them away. So I have boxes and boxes of books in my storage. And then I did magazines, but that's how it started. Wow. So because I had a love.
How lucky for you.
And I kept going from section to section. And then I started reading about American history, the Betsy Ross and all that sort of stuff, because that's what we were reading in school. And I was like, wait a minute, we black. Mama, I want to read about black people. Right. So then she started helping me find, and my family is kind of academic. And so she started taking me to books, and we started getting books about our people and slavery. So I went through and I've read some powerful, powerful books on actually what was going on through slavery.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
So that explains you.
That explains me.
Yeah.
So there's a book right now that I just read. Zara Houston. She has written a book. Back in 1939, and this book is being published next week. Of the last surviving slave. And he came over at the very tail end. The Civil War was about to take place. It was actually illegal for them to still be kidnapping and bringing slaves. Mm-hmm. And he talks about what it was like when a neighboring tribe kidnapped him. He was out hunting, and a neighboring tribe kidnapped him and took him to the ships, and they put him on the ships. And so it's coming from his voice.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's going to be pretty powerful. Wow. And he talks about once they got here, how even though they were in a hull of a ship and chained, that when they got to shore and they started to split them, they literally cried because they realized this is the last connection that we will have to Africa. Wow. And they didn't speak the language. So when they got there, they wanted to talk to the other people, the other slaves, but purposely they didn't speak the language. And then the whites were keeping them apart, so they went until he was very isolated. So I can't wait till that book comes out next month.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. But that is, are you from, where were you born?
Ohio.
Oh, okay. So you're north.
I've lived here since I was 2 years old, so I don't know anything about
your
Ohio.
Family. Where did they migrate from?
From New York.
Oh, so you're not the South at all?
No.
How about your parents?
Yeah, New York.
Yeah, so it's a difference. My mom grew up in Alabama, and my grandparents, and so my mother moved to New York when she was in her 20s to get away from the South because she figured, and this is probably where I got it from, she didn't think she was going to live if she stayed down there. So they migrated. I only had an aunt. And I want 2 aunts that actually stayed there. Everybody else left and went north. So I kind of got it from them. And then my grandmother, we've actually researched it all the way back to even where the white part comes in and who exactly impregnated my great-great-grandmother.
Right, yeah. Well, my great-grandmother was from North Carolina, so I think she grew up there, and my grandmother, then she moved to New York.
Yeah, so you can understand if you have that Southern tie, you kind of understand their mentality, because even today, they're still controlled. Mm-hmm. Yes. And I remember when, and we'll take a break real quick after this one, LaRon, but I remember when I was 9, 10 or something, 7 or 8, my mom took me to Alabama, and I'm like, what is happening up in here? So she was saying, and by this time I had read all my little slave books, and I'm like, okay, I'm having a problem with the slang, with the yes ma'am, and the subservientness to the white people, and I'm at 7.
Right. And you're 7.
I'm 7. So she was like, okay, we're just here, her and my father. I think I was 9. Her and my father was going through some problem, my stepfather. And so she's like, we were only going to stay a week, and a week turned into 2 weeks, and a week, and 2 weeks turned into 3 weeks. I finally said, you know what? I'm going to walk back to Buffalo if we don't get out of here, because this is way. I mean, they wanted you to do the yes ma'am thing, and she taught us to be respectful but not be subservient. Right. They calling people boys and gals, and I'm like, okay, I am truly having a problem right up in here. Yes. And so we came back, but my cousins were different. The different mindset of being born in the South. You know your place.
Right.
Yes, you do.
And in Buffalo, I lived on the Canadian border. I didn't know my place. And even when I was in high school, I got kicked out of the Girl Scouts because I refused to say the flag. So I totally understand Colin Kaepernick, because I refuse, and to this day I don't do it. I'm respectful. Yes. So they kicked me out because they said she was not respecting the Pledge of Allegiance. But it wasn't written for me. That was at 12. So,
wow.
So the people at the tennis court calls me. I'm called Crystal X. We're going to take a break.
That's funny. That's great.
Hello, meet Larry. Larry is a general contractor. Larry is very good at his craft, but Larry has a very tough time managing his paperwork because he is busy taking care of his clients' needs. Larry just cannot find his important business documents when needed. Larry is also being passed over for bid opportunities from prime contractors because he is perceived as not ready. He doesn't know where his business license, certifications, insurance, and other key corporate documents are located most of the time. Lucy owns an auto body and collision repair shop and has been using a business management and procurement assistance program called Small Biz Pro to keep her business organized, business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. Small Biz Pro is a 3-in-1 cloud-based business management, procurement, and market research assistance system designed to help businesses become business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. It also provides back-office operation solutions for small businesses. Lucy is able to stay ahead of her competitors because she uses Small Biz Pro to manage her business daily. Lucy just clicks on Small Biz Pro from her tablet, mobile phone, laptop, or any internet-accessible device for data retrieval, and she's got it. Lucy introduces Larry to Small Biz Pro, and now Larry is more organized and can now find all of his documents and new bid opportunities in seconds. Larry now saves $120 in labor costs for each missing or misplaced document. Just simply go to your web browser and log into smallbizpro.net and register today for a limited 30-day free trial offer. Services start as low as $1 per day. Let's put the competition out of business. Small Biz Pro. If you stay ready, you don't need to get ready. Register now at smallbizpro.net and begin saving money. Email info@smallbizpro.net or call 626-533-1186.
Each year, the state of California contracts for billions of dollars of goods and services. We as a state can and should leverage our spending power to achieve policy goals that help the people of California. One major policy goal we have is to create jobs and grow our state economy. Promoting the development of small businesses within California is a great way for us to do that, because California small businesses are the engine of economic growth. 95% of companies in California are small businesses, and with the right opportunities, these small businesses can grow to become the next Apple, Netflix, or Tesla. So let's all do our part to promote small business development and grow our state economy. Together, we can really make.
Hello, meet Larry. Larry is a general contractor. Larry is very good at his craft.
And we are back. Wow, that was an amazing segment of the show. I'm feeling powerful through you guys, so I think I'm going to have to go on. And I can't wait to the Power Network conference. I just feel, Don, you have to get yourself there, girl.
Yes, I'll get there.
Because, wow, it is an experience that is undescribable until you go.
Right.
Because even when I told you about it, you did not imagine until you actually got there.
Right.
And it is just
when is the next one?
It starts. It's July. It's around the July holiday. So it's from the 5th to the 8th.
Where's it located?
In Baltimore.
This year? Baltimore.
Yeah, at the National Harbor Gaylord. And then it's like. So, like, they were doing their studying is really what was happening at the conference. You're up at 6. So, yeah, because if you're there for exercise, they have an exercise. They actually have a young lady that does a workout thing in the morning, and then you go get dressed, and then you have your classes, and you're in classes all day. I mean, just powerful people from all over the world, from literally all over the world, because they've had people from Nigeria and Zimbabwe and everywhere. And you're networking, and here are black people that think like you, and really are embracing working and being together, and it is amazing. It's just an amazing experience. And next year, maybe all the Bellas, we can all go. I talked to Alicia about that last year, but that didn't come. But I'm already
next
registered.
year. Yeah, I'm ready. We're going this year.
Well,
and
I'm
that's
going.
how we heard about the Egypt trip.
Exactly.
Well, I'm going. If y'all going, I'm going.
You going? Okay. It is awesome.
Yeah, that's how we heard about the
this
Egypt trip.
Okay.
Was through the Power Network. We hadn't even thought about Egypt. Africa was not. Well, Africa was. I was going to go to Ghana because our next door neighbors are. They live here 6 months and live there 6 months.
Okay.
But I just never got there. Kept putting it off and putting it off, and then we went to Egypt and we heard Tony Browder speak, and we went, and Aaron said we should go. It was actually Aaron's idea.
Because he took us on a tour. He took us on a tour of Washington D.C. We went on that 3-hour tour of Washington D.C. Egypt on the Potomac, and all of the African Egyptian symbolism throughout all of Washington D.C. hidden in plain sight. You know, we're looking at it, but we don't know, we don't understand. You know, so once we went on that trip. And the Africa trip was introduced a little bit later, and we knew that he was going to be there, and of course Dr. Frazier was going to be there. We were all in.
Yeah.
Now I think last year at the Power Network, Anthony brought it the first year I went, and I don't remember if they did it this year. I don't think they did, but they actually did a timeline. After they came with the drums, because they opened it up with the beating of the drums.
Right, I heard that.
Right, and then they have their colors because they've done their ancestry, so they know what villages they come from. So they have their scarves and their colors, and they walk in through the secession. And when you got there, Anthony did a timeline of Egypt to all of us way through slavery, everything of our place in time. And it was really powerful. And I don't remember them doing that last year.
I think they did.
Did they do that?
Year. Yeah.
Okay.
Because that was my first time seeing it. I was very impressed.
Yeah, very. That was the first thing that started it. Right, first time it's like, oh my God! So you hear the beating of the drums, and you feel like you're calling of your people, your ancestors. It's very ceremonial. So that just resonated with me. So Egypt was a very civilized place. Just brilliance. We were brilliant, and we still are brilliant. We just don't understand the power of our brilliance. So did you guys embrace that, and how did that fit with what you're doing now? The Lisa Initiative, the working toward financial wellness in our communities, and what you're doing, what your path is for why you sell life insurance and why you're so passionate about it.
First, I want to tell you I got an African name.
Okay. All right. You got your African name. What's your African name?
It's called it's Afua.
Afua.
Yeah,
and that means
you are known to be a person full of growth, creativity, ingenuity. Right. You are always anticipating what can be done, and it's great. It's just a little bit about the name, and I thought that was great.
Okay.
But yeah, when I went to the Power Networking, I've been in the insurance business for 35 plus years, and I've always felt the power of insurance to transfer wealth. When I went to the Power Network and their focus is on generational wealth, it just kind of a light bulb came on that my mission, my purpose for the next years of my life is to really, really concentrate on promoting generational wealth and financial legacy. And it's really important. And when we went there is a lot of poverty there because I don't think that they're not being taught. I mean, we had an experience where we actually lifted a person up with our fingers at one of the sessions. And Tony said, he had this guy come and sit down, and he said, "How much do you weigh?" And he says, "I weigh about 240 pounds." Well, he actually weighed about 270 pounds right there.
He was a former Marine, so he was very solid.
Okay.
He was very solid. Yeah.
He was solid.
Yeah.
That's the word. And so we, so then they said, okay, we need some volunteers to come up. And we just kind of sat there, and he says, well, what about the Mackies? You know? And so Erin was the baby of the group. She was the youngest. So we went, and he says, okay, we want you guys to put your hands like this, fold them like you're praying, and then like you're gonna, like a gun. And we're gonna lift him up. So he says, okay, let's go. Aaron was under his armpit. I was under his thigh, and Jim was under his thigh, and he was under the other armpit. So he said, let's lift him up. So we try to lift him up, and of course you cannot lift up a 270-pound man.
Right.
With 2 fingers.
With 2 fingers.
Right.
With 2 fingers.
But before you go on, let me just say that my mindset at the time when he gave us this exercise to do, I was thinking in my head, I'm going to lift with my legs. I'm not going to lift with my back.
You were doing a Dawn thing, because that's what Dawn would have done.
Yeah, use my glutes and my quads. Right?
Okay. Go
Yeah, right. Okay. So
that was going to work.
So that didn't work with the fingers. So then he told us, he said, okay, I'm going to instruct you. I want you to imagine lifting him up. I want you to give yourself a commandment. Give your mind a commandment to lift him up. And so he had us close our eyes, and he said, can you imagine lifting him up? And then he went to all of us, and Aaron said, yeah, I can imagine. And I'm looking inside my spirit, and I'm actually lifting him up in my mind. And then Jim responded the same way. And so then he said, okay, let's try this again. And so we had our 2 fingers, and we put it the same spot. Oh, before we did that, we put our hand on top of his head, kind of going left, right, left, right. So what we were doing was creating that energy, synchronizing our energy with his energy. And so then he said, okay, let's do it. And we actually lifted him up with our 2 fingers, and he felt like a feather. I mean, lift up. Jim said he lifted up so high we could see his eyes.
Wow.
We actually did that, and it was such a powerful, amazing experience to be able, because you see that and you go. People were coming up to us afterwards saying, "Did you guys practice that?" Everybody thought it was some kind of trick. So afterwards, Tony described what we did. He said, what you did, you gave your mind a directive. You gave your mind a commandment, and your body responds to the instruction that is given from your mind.
Exactly.
And
wow.
Yeah, it was really heavy. And he said, so when you work in concert with that, we're lifting him up, and the energy flowed through our bodies, through our hands and his body. So we were working together. So now you're able to do something what appears to be impossible.
Right.
And then he explained that's probably what happened with the pyramids. You know, they were building with technology that no one can even understand.
Right.
But see, our ancestors knew something that we didn't know about the mind, the body, and the mind, the body, and the soul, and the imagination.
Right.
And so that was really strong. Either we forgot it or we were never taught about it. And so the consequences he talked about was that we're functioning at a dysfunctional level right now. We are comfortable with that. We're comfortable with not having our full control, our full power, our full potential. And so that was really incredible. So to answer your question, when I came back, I'm on more of a mission of the generational wealth. I know I'm partnering with Fraser on creating $1 million babies, minority babies, black babies, to transfer $1 trillion into the black community, into our community, $1 trillion. And so we have been doing that. And I tell you, every week we're getting 4 and 5 mothers are coming to our office, and they're buying into the vision. We're creating these $1 million babies. We're creating financial legacies. We're showing people how to use insurance generational wealth to create that. So yeah, we came back a lot more powerful, a lot more knowing how to really use our mind, and so it's a beautiful thing.
Wow.
And I think that's so important because in some aspect that's like what when we talk about how you've committed to your health and committing to other people's health, because somewhere there was an insight. You had an insight with your own health, right?
Yes.
So you're not doing it just out of the fact it's just a gig.
No.
It's a passion,
Right.
and it has a real center in your heart, right? You guys now, you already had it, right? So now you went and you connected with the power of and I think that was the power behind the Black Panthers.
Yeah.
When you walked out, because for me, there was that scene where they were in the tribal waters and they were doing the challenge, and they were like, boom, 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 and they were, and you kept looking up, and it was like miles and miles and miles of just beautiful Black people in unity together. And for me, doing what I do, and I really am a civic activist, because I see us coming together to work together to change how we live. And then when I interact with other people that are giving me excuses why we can't, or say, oh no, we don't work together, that does anger me, because I know just from the people that I surround myself with, that's not true.
It's not true.
We all uplift each other. We all support each other. And then when I break it down to, when you tell me that, then I have to kind of go with, well, let me think. When you were in school, you had your friends, and you were all part of a corps, right? Then when you go to church, you're very united in working for whatever y'all are working for, right? And then if you were part of a sorority or a fraternity, you're working together. In any organization, you're working together. So that is not true.
And if you feel like that is true, let it start with you. Let it start with you. Seek out someone that you can partner with and advocate for.
Right, exactly. And find out why you feel the information that we get from others that are trying to dictate what our lives should be, why you're allowing them to misshape and take your brain and not use the power that you have.
That's right. That's right. Because one of the experiences that I brought back was just to see even what Aaron and I and Jim did, what human beings can actually accomplish and do when they really know themselves, and how to manifest that creative spirit that's really in us. Because that's how our ancestors, that's how they were able to overcome. Can you imagine having to go through what they went through? So we're on a mission, and we are excited about it. Because the thing about the life insurance is you're going to die. Everybody's going to die. So why not pick a best friend, or if you don't have children, someone that you can leave a legacy through the power of insurance, pennies on the dollar. And so that's what we're advocating. That's what we're preaching. And for the first time, either I'm saying, I'm talking about it better more, or I'm describing it better. I don't know. Maybe it's me. But the first time, people are really buying into it. I said, I've never protected more families than I've ever done recently than I've ever done. You know, I'm going to say I've never sold more insurance than I've ever did in my life. But really, people are buying it. They are buying into the vision now, and I'm really excited.
They hear a new passion from you.
Maybe they feel it. I know.
Absolutely.
And you know, the way we accomplished wealth after slavery was that. There were mutual benefit groups, and some of them sold insurance and life insurance policy. In fact, there's the first billionaire, I think his name was A.G. Gaston. A.G. Gaston. And what he did was he sold, he literally was the first Black billionaire. Okay. And we're talking back in the 1800s. And what he did was he sold life insurance, but he also tied it to a plot. Because so that family would be buried in the same place, and that's how he became wealthy. And then from there, he created a mutual insurance company, and then from there, he was an activist. He actually supported Martin Luther King financially, and so he used his wealth in order to make a better place for us. He was out of Alabama, and there's a book called A.G. Gaston, and it's a powerful book. So when you read about that, you read about Wall Street and other organizations and other people that rose above that. But right now I'm reading a book called what is it called? It's called Collaboration or something of that nature. But it's about how we started. And this young woman wrote a op-ed in the Washington Post. And from there, this book that took her 21 years. And talk about research. I mean, she takes you back to, so one of the most profound things that I learned was that one of the reasons, a couple of years ago, in fact, I think it was a conversation when I first started the show, and Felicia was saying that she had an interview with someone and they were talking about why we don't support each other, right? And so I was like, and then the other question was, why do white people hate us so much? I mean, because it didn't make any sense. And like when you really think about it today, we're not brand new.
Right.
There is, if you're white today in America, there is no way that you have not had some encounter with some black people somewhere,
right,
unless you live in Wyoming,
right,
where there is none of us there.
Right.
Exactly.
Right? But you have had some encounter. Yeah. And if you've had encounter, even if it's on television, you appropriate our culture. You love everything about our culture.
Yes.
But what happens with us? So my inquisitive mind says, let's go research that, Crystal. Okay. And so that's how I came across this book. It's called Collective Courage is what it's called. Collective Courage. And it's by Jessica Nimhard. And when I went back, so one of the things she said, after we were emancipated and became free, white America lost $25 million. Now that's then. That's money, $25 million go back in 1800s. And that's the problem. It's not us as the color. It's the fact that we were their free labor. And they lost their free labor.
I believe it.
And
that makes sense.
And then they had to go work. And they had to figure out how to continue on with their labor.
I just don't understand how they think it was okay to make us their free labor. That part just...
They just created that in there was just,
Why was that okay?
Exactly. But, well, that was actually a structure too.
Okay with that?
Because they had tried the Indians. They had tried the Chinese. The Chinese was very obstinate and stubborn. And and not strong enough to do what they wanted. So after going through many different people trying to make them slaves, they realized that in Africa that we were the strongest. And what we were doing as far as building pyramids, we were brilliant. And they know that. And so it went there. Now, the one downfall that we have is that we're a very forgiving people.
We are very forgiving.
And that's our downfall.
You think it's a downfall? It's
a downfall in the sense that we tend to let our hearts say, we will forgive you, and then we let them back in. As opposed to being like other cultures, like, no, let us build ourselves strong and create a fortress to keep you from using and abusing.
Forgiveness is important for us to heal.
Right.
You got to forgive.
You got to heal.
Kind of forgive, but we don't have to forget.
We don't have to forget.
We don't have to live in anger and resentment either. Otherwise, we're slowly dying.
Right,
so
exactly.
Forgiveness is important.
It is important. It's
have the mindset of, knowing the Bible doesn't say forget.
Right.
It just say we need to forgive.
Forgive. But to use...
got to remember.
To remember and the power of who we are in that forgiveness.
Right, exactly. Who we are in the forgiveness.
In the forgiveness. Not to release our power to someone else.
Right.
And that's what we've done. And became more dependent on other people. And
that's the mistake we've made.
Right.
Absolutely.
So... if I want, if you look at what Kanye West says, maybe that's what he was trying to get at, is that we have to unslave our minds. But the way he said it was a choice. It wasn't a choice. But for where we are today, it is a choice. We have a choice to rise above it. And in spite of, like our ancestors did, and embrace who we are, or we can choose to sit here and let life happen to us.
And this is how you're teaching us how to rise above it. Right? You're teaching us how to rise. One of the ways we can rise above it.
That's right. Exactly. Because it's sad, because 70% of wealth is lost in the second generation and 90% in the third. Right. That's sad.
Wow.
That's sad. And it's just something that we have to do about it. We just have to educate. So what Aaron and I are doing, we are certified financial educators. And through the LISA Initiative, what started with the LISA Initiative program. So we are now going into our schools and our communities and our churches and actually teaching financial literacy courses, because it all starts with education. Because if you give your children or your beneficiaries a house or a lot of real estate and they don't know what to do with it, then they lose it like a lot. I know in our neighborhood, a lot of families left it and then they lost it.
There was a young man on the show last week, and I'll send you guys over. I'm going to edit it tonight. I'll send that over to you. And this young man, his mother, they broke up when he was young, and his mom worked 2 or 3 jobs, and then he found out later on that she was illiterate, but she worked hard to be able to buy a house because they lived in the projects up in the Bay Area. And he said by the time he was 25 years old, he was already a multimillionaire just watching his mother. But he said what happened was, through property, he started investing and buying, and he bought one piece of property, and somebody came to him and an amazing offer to turn it into a parking lot, and he sold it for just goo gobs of money, and then he became his investing and buying other property. He said so by the time he was 25, he was a multimillionaire. Then the recession came and nearly wiped him out. He says, and this is what he said. He said, I knew how to make the money. I didn't have enough education or enough understanding of money, how to have protected myself and not be over leveraged. And so he says now it's different. So now he's in his mid 30s and he's back there, and he bought a real estate company, a franchise and he invests, and he's got another company, and he's investing in tech businesses. And there's somebody you probably want to meet because their next level is their angel investors, and I'm talking to him about the youth program that I'm doing, the Nifty program, and the kids helping them launch those businesses. So he's saying that's the next level, because we need to take our younger kids, and our young college age students, our millennials, and we need to help them get into business. And that's who we should be focusing on right now.
That's right.
And building that, but at the same time teaching them to understand money and the legacy piece.
That's right.
What you're doing here with Aaron is what needs to be translated to and taught to every young person, that she's carrying on your legacy. You and Jim worked hard to get to where you are, and when you retire, you're just not going to close the doors. You're going to pass it on to Aaron, and then hopefully Aaron will pass it on to her children, and it'll keep moving on, because that's the only way we take ourselves out.
But if I don't have any children, you're saying that my insurance policy, I can leave that money to my nieces and nephews.
That's right. And you should. Because you can get it for pennies on the dollar. Right. You really should.
So
to give them a fair charge.
A lot of people don't know the power. They don't really understand. Grown people do not understand the power of insurance. My best friend, he's 62 years old. He had $75,000 in the bank, no life insurance. And he was like, and I'm trying to get him to get life insurance and put me on the policy.
Hey, Don, send them to me.
Look.
Send them to me.
I have to. Like, listen, and he's a pilot. So I said, this plane gonna go down. You've been lucky. It's gonna go down. And they just recently had a scare. The front windshield came off or cracked while they were driving, and they had to make an emergency landing. And he's texting me from the plane, and I'm like, dude, we don't have any life insurance. You can't die yet. And my name ain't on the bank account. This is a true story. This is a couple weeks ago. I need a little bit more time. Life insurance. This is what I'm texting him. Life insurance. Will you stop it? I'm up here scared. Like, life insurance.
Life insurance. So we need to turn him over to Tanya, let her take it from there.
So tell me how life insurance, how does it work, and why should everyone have it? And if someone says, I don't have the money, I can't even afford my rent.
That's all the more reason why you should have it.
Right.
You know, it's in the Asian culture, I think we talked about this before, about posterity, where Americans focus on prosperity, the now, the here and now. But posterity is planning generations out, 5, 10 generations out. So that's what we have to do.
Right.
You have to plan. Someone said, talk to the businessman, the Asian businessman. They said, he said, well, I'm already planning. Americans don't plan. I'm already planning 100 years out. Right. And the guy was asked, so you're going to be here 100 years? He said, no, but I'm creating something that will be here 100 years and 100 years and 100 years. Wow. We just did $1 Million Baby plan for, I think the kids started off with, ended up with like $6 or $7 million. Well, if your kid or someone has $6 or $7 million, you think maybe they might take care of you too? So there's this power in it, and our culture, they don't understand it. Men, husbands hate insurance, but widows love it.
Right.
Aaron went on an appointment. I just loved her answer. She went on an appointment, and this guy told her, tell him what he told you.
This guy I was meeting with his wife, and he walked in, and he was like, I don't want any insurance or something like that. I don't need any of this. I'm protecting his wife. I'm protecting their uncle. But he chimes in and he says, I don't need any insurance. And I said, this isn't about you. This is about making sure that your wife is taken care of if something happens to you. This is about making sure that this house is taken care of if something happens to you. This is to make sure that your kids are taken care of if something happens to you. This is what that's about. That's what life insurance is about. It's about another thing that it's about that's important is it's about opportunity.
Right.
We are financially locked out of opportunity, starting businesses, buying houses, buying properties, whatever the case is, whatever we put our mind to, we need resources. We need financial resources. We need cash. And you can use life insurance to do that. Right.
Because life insurance is considered another stream of income.
Oh, yeah. Like well, and it's not just about dying. There's so many living benefits. I remember when I was off work for 6 months, I was able to tap into my plans. I remember when I bought the office in 2011 when the stock market was down and I couldn't touch my variable accounts and my 401ks and things like that. I was able to tap into my cash value life insurance plans tax free and be able to put 40% down on my house. So it's not all about dying. It's actually you get more money. It's actually for living. It's a living plan.
Let me ask you this question. So are you promoting a whole plan or a whole life plan?
No, I'm promoting an index universal life plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because
which is permanent. Which is permanent.
But let me ask you this question: Is that a policy that allows your savings within your life?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
A cap of 12% interest.
A cap of 12%, which is kind of unheard of.
Yeah,
12% interest.
12%.
Now, in borrowing that money, with some insurance plans, when you borrow from the plan, they charge you anywhere from 6 to 4% for borrowing that money. Yeah. Is that the type?
No, ours is. It actually ends up being about 0.75%, and you never have to pay it back because it comes from your insurance when you finally do die, not if but when. Because the insurance, the way that we design the insurance increases every year. So let's say you start off with $300,000. By the time you retire, you probably have $1 million. And so let's say you probably have about $700,000 or $800,000 of cash. So you can borrow 90% tax free. So you can borrow against your plan, like I did with the house.
So you're saying that if it's not paid back, all of this is taken out of the insurance
policy. That's still going to be more than what you probably started with.
Right. So most people I get it.
They don't get it. They don't understand. They think life insurance, because the old days with the whole life and those type plans, they were more like death insurance plans, like a flip phone versus an iPhone. Right. Those were old. And so you're looking at your grandmother's plan. She's like, oh gosh, she paid all these years and she doesn't have anything
at death.
Those are the kind of plans. Or term ends. We have a lady who she bought a term plan 30 years ago for a couple of $1,000s a year, and now she's 65. She still wants her $1 million of insurance, but the term went to $25,000 a year. So term is definitely not set for generational wealth. It's not designed for that. But
Dave Ramsey talks about his idea. You familiar with Dave Ramsey? His idea is and so does Susie Orman. Her idea is you go term and you invest the difference. If you have money, you go term, because life insurance is simply for you until you build your assets up. So tell me why you think that doesn't necessarily work.
Well, several you were going to say something? Several reasons. You're going to die. So you can't tell me that you're going to build assets. You cannot build more assets up than you can buy life insurance. You just can't. And then when the market goes down, let's say in 2008, when your $200,000 down is now worth $100,000 and you die, now your family gets $100,000. Okay. And life insurance, you get tax-free income that doesn't show up on your income tax. Right. So no, term, in my opinion, is not the way to go.
It's not the way to create wealth.
It's not the. And in our people, maybe I met with a guy yesterday client, and he's worth a couple of $100 million. And I asked him, he says, I have a legacy trust. And I said, that's great. How are you funding it? He said, I'm funding it with real estate, but I'm mostly funding it with life insurance. And you don't fund a legacy trust with term insurance because the term is going to end. Most people don't die during the term.
Right, exactly.
That's the problem. But in our culture, we need to be leaving it. Maybe in their culture, they can get some more millions that their great-great-great-grandfather left them, but we don't have that, like Aaron said about the options.
Yeah, I was going to say that, one of the other benefits about insurance is that, especially properly designed insurance program, is it gives us access to cash. It's liquid. We talk about assets and we talk about asset diversification. We talk about real estate, but real estate is not liquid. Other than, you selling, you're actually having to sell the property or, take out some type of second mortgage or something like that to where you can gain cash from that piece of real estate. But there's no questions asked in terms of, you borrowing from your policy. You're only borrowing from yourself. There's no limit on how much you can borrow. There's no timeline on when you can borrow it. A lot of times people talk about Roth IRAs. Which is a tax-free vehicle, but there's stipulations that come with a Roth IRA. You can only borrow from the Roth IRA after 59 and a half. You can only put in so much money a year, depending upon your age, $5,500 or $6,000. You have to take it out after 70 and a half, or you'll start to be penalized. So there's just all these kinds of pros and cons, with a properly structured life insurance program versus, some other type of vehicle.
And so that's what you're teaching people, how to properly
properly structure it.
So you sit down with them and you ask them how much money they want to leave or what type of legacy they want to leave.
Yeah, we do.
And you plan those things
we
out.
Definitely do a fact finding. We want to get to know, who we're working with. We want to make sure that whatever their dreams are, we want to make sure that we're putting things in place to make that a reality. And we're going to do our best to properly structure a program for them that's going to allow them to do that.
And that's what makes Mackey, you guys, different from any other insurance company.
Absolutely.
That's our secret sauce.
That's the secret sauce. As you sit down, you plan.
We sit down with them and we want to know what you want your investments to achieve.
Right.
What do you think about money? Your concerns. See, I grew up in a single parent home and we didn't have a lot of money. Now I have a lot of money, but let me tell you what I do. Because it goes back. It goes back to your childhood. What are your needs and what feelings come in mind when you think about insurance? So we help you, kind of like a psychologist would help you. We don't just say you need this. We sit down and really design.
And we know that about you, but our viewers don't. We know about you because you're part of the Bella family. We've seen your presentation. And I think you guys are absolutely awesome. I haven't seen anything like you guys. I believe in it.
So I have money, but when I take off my makeup under my eyes, I take a cotton ball, and this goes back because I didn't have money growing up. So I take a cotton ball and I tear it in half just so I can use the next half the next day. A cotton ball, I tear it in half, and then I wipe it on this side and wipe it on that side. Instead of just taking the cotton ball, and just wipe it.
So you're still frugal and
I'm still very frugal.
I just recently found out you was rich. And I've been knowing you for a while. All them discounts I was giving you to come and work it out with me.
She travels everywhere. When I talked to her today to get her on the show, she goes, Egypt was not my vacation. The real vacation is coming up.
Tomorrow.
But she just got back from Paris. You went to Paris and then Brazil, or Brazil or Paris first.
Yeah, Paris and then Brazil and then Egypt, and then we're going to Newport Saturday, and then we're going back to Paris. So it's just trying to enjoy.
So she's enjoying her life.
Yeah, just enjoy.
But you plan for that, and then the other piece of that is, some people may have purchased their investment policies or what have you, but they need to go back and review, right, and see if it fits for what they're doing right now. Because once their children are grown and now their grandkids are there, and potential to be investors in their children's businesses, right? My sister was saying she was having a conversation with a person that she works with at the tax office. She's an assessor, and they were having this conversation why people just can't pull themselves up by their bootstraps. And he was saying he had bought his business from his father. But, of course, he didn't say how much. He goes, and that was the start. But I worked hard at that, and I bought it. And she goes, but you had it There was a legacy for you to buy, for your parents to say, here, buy my business. And so you really, truly did not pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
Right.
And then his father gave you an infusion of cash in order to sustain the business. His business came with clients. So, no, you did not pull yourself up. Where when we talk about pulling ourselves up from the bootstrap, you're
like what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, you're scraping in all your pennies that you kept from your change, right?
That's right.
And you're selling some stuff that may have some value.
That's right.
And that's bootstrapping.
Yeah,
that's right. But if your if we were having this conversation with your great-great-grandfather and he left you $10 million, your life would be different.
Right.
So I just want to tell your viewers, no, term is not the answer. It definitely is not the answer. And you do need to have a properly structured plan. Absolutely. And you do need to have something that has the living benefits. Because,
living benefits.
Yeah, you got to have something that have living benefits. Disability. Alzheimer's is on the rise. We have a program that will pay you a percentage of your insurance benefit. The $1 million lady who bought a $1 million plan, she had a chronic illness portion of it that's in the plan, no extra cost, that if she becomes has Alzheimer's or any of 18 other triggers, she would get $14,000 a month tax-free for the rest of her life.
And so she could have someone come in and caregive in her home, right? And not have to sell everything in order to be able to take care of themselves, right?
Exactly. And I think it's important. I think it's really important to sit down and really talk to a professional, because you can help us think of things that we're not thinking about.
Right.
I sat down with my girlfriend. I signed my insurance policy. She never told me about that. She never told me about living benefits.
You work 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, and a critical illness, a chronic illness, a terminal illness can financially
wipe you out.
It can financially destroy you. So it's important to make sure that you do have a program that does have those living benefits that you can tap into if something happens. And we do complimentary wealth checkups.
We're about 5 minutes out before we close. So why don't you guys tell our viewers how they can find you and where your website and all that information.
Okay. So you can find me, Erin Mackey, on Facebook. You can find my mom, Tanya Mackey, on Facebook. Our website is www.nationalfringe, FRINGE, benefits with an S, that's plural, .com. So that's www. Gotta say it one more time.
Yes.
www.nationalfringebenefits.com, and that's all one word.
And our telephone number is 310-338-8155. 310-338-8155. And what about the 228? Can they do that? The 228?
Yes, actually, we're gonna. We're National Fringe Benefits, and a partner of ours is collaborating tomorrow for an event at the Pomona Valley Mining Company called the IE Divas Happy Mother's Day Brunch. And so we have a campaign that we put together. If you pull out your phones and you text the word Diva Day, DIVADAY, all one word. It doesn't matter if it's lowercase. It doesn't matter if it's uppercase, but all one word. And you text that to the number 22828. Then you'll automatically be put in our campaign. And we don't spam you, but we do have some campaigns, some really important information, educational information. And the first thing that we start off with is 4 ways to save without budgeting. Everyone hates the word budget. My mom hates the word budget, but we make it very simple and very easy for you. So if you text the word Diva Day, all lowercase or all uppercase, no spaces, to 22828, then we can you'll be forwarded some information and we can be in contact with you.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
So Dawn, you got it. We got a couple minutes.
They can find me right here. Next week with you, my friend. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. Or you can find me on all social media as Dawn Strozier, DAWNSTROZIER, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
Okay. So we'll do that. And I'm Crystal Mitchell with the Business Zone. Gilbert Buchanan, he is not here today. He will be back in June, but in the meantime, we got our special guest hostess, Miss Dawn Strozier. And you can find us at the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert. You can find us on Facebook, LinkedIn, all of the social outlets. And I'm also the co-director of Recycling Black Dollars. We have a breakfast mixer Tuesday from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. at the Denny's on Crenshaw and Coliseum. And our guest speaker on Tuesday is Miss Wendy Glagney. She's going to come in and talk about forgiving and forgiveness.
If you haven't heard her, you have to be in the building.
You have to be in the building.
Her story is absolutely amazing.
It's amazing. Actually, she's going to be on the show June 1st.
Oh, will I be here?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, he won't come back. He's not coming back till the 11th.
Yes.
Yeah, so she's going to be on the show on June 1st. So you'll get it firsthand, and she's awesome. I want to thank you guys so much. I know we've been working on this, but this was worth the wait because you came back and talked about Egypt, and that was amazing. And so we're going to be doing our Bella thing until July when I'll be with you guys at the Power Network, and I'm looking forward to it. And thank you so much. So we're going to tune out this week, and we will see you back next week, which is May 11th, Friday, May 11th, between 3 and 5. So tune into the Business Zone next week.
Yeah.
As a small biz pro, so we roll, using procurement, program, and control. As a small biz pro, so we grow, using procurement, program, and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah. Crystal Mitchell, do you have my business plan? Just review the pages of my marketing plan. Crystal Mitchell, do you have my business plan? Just review the pages of my marketing plan. Got my capability statement, yes, I'm ready to go. Got my